The news that you will not hear reported anywhere else. If you're the type that wants to stay asleep under your covers, only waking to worship Washington and their lapdogs in the media, then you're not going to like this channel. But if you really want to hear the truth, whether it hurts or not, continue watching. Now, at the end of today's video, I'm going to reveal a couple of secrets about how you can actually beat YouTube at their own game. But I thought I would lead with the truth because this is part of it. Now, you would think with this article here from the Miami Herald that this sounds eminently reasonable. Venezuelan unrest worry that criminals will acquire military weapons. Well, let's find out what they're really talking about here. The Venezuelan government's decision to arm civilians to defend the country's socialist revolution amid growing unrest is rekindling fears of terrorists and criminal organizations acquiring part of the nation's arsenal, which include a large stockpile of shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles. So let me get this straight. Arming civilians means arming terrorists and criminals. Boy, that reminds me of something happened in this country, what was it, 250-ish years ago? There was a group of criminals that were armed with military weapons that did this exact thing. Interesting. I thought socialism meant that you disarmed your populace. You didn't arm the civilians. Experts, U.S. policymakers are worried about the missiles, and thousands of modern assault rifles, there's that magic word again, and banned anti-personnel mines might fall into the hands of criminal groups. Lack of internal controls, blah, 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 blah. Maduro is a dictator with close ties to terror-sponsoring regimes and is now promising a gun for every militiaman. Boy, now that's a terrorist thought right there, isn't it? A gun for every militiaman, as his quote-unquote thugs counter the Venezuela's people's peaceful pro-democracy protest with violence and lethal force. Baloney. What a bunch of crap. The protests that are going on down there are financed through the right-wing militias out of Colombia that are financed by the U.S. government. This reckless action reeks of desperation and raises the possibility that Maduro could lose control over dangerous weapon systems. Reckless action, wow. Arming your people to defend themselves and their state, their sovereignty, and their country is reckless now. Does that sound like a heavy-handed authoritarian dictator to you who promises a gun for every person who wants to defend the country? Here it talks about how they have purchased the Igleas. Though the militias are being armed with rifles, not land-air missiles. Oh, really? Experts worry that the military gear could make its way to civilians eventually. So when they put this little picture up here that showed the leader of Venezuela's military, Pedro Lopez, with it's basically a SAM system, it's their version of it, on his shoulder, it really has nothing to do with what's really going on, does it? They say it right in the article. Now, and of course, they have to do this remake of that nonsense in China where the guy stood in front of the tank here to try to make their point. Wow, but Maduro renewed those fears last week after greenlighting the Zamora Plan, a readiness operation that calls for the activation of militias when facing an imminent threat of war. Militias being armed to defend the country. Man, boy, that's heavy-handed socialism right there. We need to not have that. The signing of the Zamora Plan gave the legal grounds to enact Maduro's previous announcement that he would give rifles to 400,000 militias, to protect his government from a coup that he said was planned in Washington. Now, if you had to trust this or trust Washington to tell you the truth about the situation, now be honest. What do you think? That's interesting. Very interesting, this little hit piece that they were trying to put out. But they, of course, revealed the truth without even intending to. I remember U.S. officials being petrified about these things ending up in the hands of the wrong people. Yeah, you mean civilians and militias? This is what they're not telling you, folks. According to the source familiar with the Venezuelan arsenal, the Bolivarian regimen, let's see if I can learn to speak Her Majesty's English today, currently has in storage 5,000 of the one-man operated missiles, many more than the 1,500 reported by Control Ciudadano, an NGO in South America. $5,000 launchers, and show that the country's armed forces also acquired 200,000 Kalashnikov assault rifles, 120,000 World War II vintage rifles, and 400,000 anti-personnel and anti-tank mines. To the people. They are arming the people. And this is why this country has gotten itself in the target, in the reticle, I should say, of the United States. Because just like here, they're calling you terrorists, staging false flags to take away your guns, raise the age to 21, being able to label you mentally ill without any due process. This is what's really going on. And by the way, if you think for 1 minute, if we launch some fool's adventure into this country, that they are going to shut off their SAM sites like they did in Syria, yeah, that's not going to happen. Because it is true. They do have these. And they're in the hands of the people. And they have their own militias that patrol their own borders. I mean, imagine this. I mean, how unbelievably dangerous this must be to an authoritarian government. To have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people walking around armed, ready to defend their country. And I just want to show you this. This was a YouTube video. Top 5 best air defenses in Latin America. And you can look this up on YouTube, but see if I can get over here to it. The number 1.
Del continente después de Estados Unidos. Es el país que más ha invertido en el cuidado de su espacio aéreo. En la actualidad posee el sistema de misiles de mayor alcance en la región, el cual es el sistema S-300VM, Anti-2500. Es el misil antiaéreo más temido por parte de los Estados Unidos y que está en servicio en Venezuela desde el 2011 a la actualidad. Es un sistema superficie-aire, antibalístico, y cuenta con un alcance máximo de 200 kilómetros. Además, Venezuela cuenta con el sistema Buque M2, sistema móvil de misiles superficie-aire de medio alcance con capacidad para interceptar misiles de crucero, bombas inteligentes, aeronaves tripuladas o no tripuladas, y que tiene un alcance máximo de 42 kilómetros. Y el sistema de defensa antiaérea S-125M2 Pechora, con un alcance máximo de 35 kilómetros. Entre otros, también cuenta con el sistema de misiles.
Okay. You basically get the idea. The number 1 anti-air system in the hemisphere, of course, is the United States. The number 2 in the hemisphere is Venezuela. Just so you understand that this is not going to be some waltz. That this is not going to be something where they warn 4 days ahead and don't attempt to target any SAM sites and launch hundreds of missiles, allegedly, but only damage 3 buildings with hundreds of missiles, with no inspection, with no proof that there was actually a chemical attack. This is an entirely different thing altogether. Now, I've forwarded some information to Jennifer Hammonds. We haven't coordinated on anything in a while, but there is this false report running around out there about all this giant buildup in Panama. The Common Sense show put it out, and I'm going to not step on her. I forwarded her all the information to prove that this is a false, fake story being put out. There was just a simple training exercise going on in Panama. But of course, this is what happens when YouTubers don't do their basic research. This Common Sense show showed pictures of a Taiwanese destroyer, claimed it was a U.S. destroyer, showed a picture of a phone sitting on a table with pictures brought up on the phone saying that these allegedly were at some air base in Panama that is now, they're saying it was a military air base and it's now actually a civilian airfield. Has been for years. So it's just a bunch of fake news, and of course the source is some stolen valor ex-Green Beret that has already been outed as being a liar. So I'm going to let her give you the details on all this. But anyway, this is a story that actually explains what was really going on. Now, as promised, this issue with YouTube. I get a lot of people saying, well, I'm going to unsubscribe. Well, you can go to your analytics and you can look at who watches what and for how long, and you see this is my average view duration right now, 5.5 minutes. Most of my videos run between 10 and 15, so I can tell that the vast majority of people aren't even watching the whole video. Like, we're 12 minutes in right now, and I doubt anybody's watching this. I mean, they might be now because I warned in the early part of the video. But you can look at the numbers for subscribers and non-subscribers and together. And basically, the vast majority of my views come from non-subscribers. And I'll just go ahead and I'll tap this here to show you. We'll tap this and we'll go to not subscribed and see what comes up. As you can see, 90,000 views from people who aren't subscribed. And we go to subscribed, and it's only 50,000. Not that I don't appreciate my subs, but don't think for 1 minute that if you come here and you threaten to unsub, that somehow I'm going to cower away and be so sad and I'm going to change the direction of my channel. Not going to do it. And honestly, it's very strange. Used to be that the more subscribers you got, the more revenue you generated. But I could, if I wanted to waste a bunch of your time, I could take you back through my statistics and show you that this channel was making a lot more money when it had fewer subscribers. It was very, very strange. And I think this is the thing that if you go to revenue, I don't want to reveal too much personal information, but this is actually great because you cannot now see data available by subscription status regarding revenue. And this is the big secret YouTube doesn't want you to know. That subs no longer drive revenue. Revenue is driven by views, regardless of subs. People go to look at videos that interest them regardless of whether they're subscribed to the channel or not. And that's going to be a hard thing for a lot of channels to wrap their head around, is you cannot be slaved to the whims of the squeaky wheels, so to speak. And this channel never will be. So, anyway, I will leave it there, and thank you all for your support. I do appreciate it. Like, share, and I suppose if you want notifications, subscribe. If not, that's great too. And we will see you next time. Thank you.